Live from the PCTV studios, the Monday Morning Quarterback. Your host, Dave Ridenour.
Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another edition of the Vallejo Stun Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. I'm Dave Ridenour, the Monday Morning Quarterback, and we have another interesting show planned for you this evening. First time we're back here at my Pottstown High School studio. We are on location the first 2 weeks at Doc's Irish Pub in Boyertown, and then the Colebrookdale Railroad last week, and we had a great time, great turnout. And again, I want to thank everybody for stopping by and helping to make that show a great success. Well, Coach and I are getting ready to break down all last week's action here in the Pioneer Athletic Conference in the Liberty Division and also the Frontier, as it was week number 1 of divisional play. As usual, though, we're going to take a quick timeout. We're going to get ourselves ready to rock and roll. When we come back, we're going to look at last week's games right here on the Vallejo Stun Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
Yeah. At Vallejo Stun Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vallejo Stun Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vallejo Stun Insurance, and we're in your community.
So you're officially married. Congrats! It's time to combine things. Your last names, your toothbrush holders, and your health insurance. When you combine policies, you can save and live happily ever after financially. Use the red key for more money-saving tips. Find yourself impulse buying uncontrollably? Here's a tip from Ben Franklin. Carry me in your wallet. Big bills are harder to give up. The next time you're tempted to impulse buy, you might not want to break a Benjamin. Use the red key and save.
Back here on set at the Pottstown studios here, Dave Ridenour, and my good friend and co-host for many, many years, and great to see you again, Coach Jim Mick, formerly of St. Pius X High School. And Coach, you know, last week we talked over there at the train station at the Colebrookdale Railroads about this week being so important. You wanted to get off on the right foot and a good start to the divisional play, and it was an interesting weekend of high school football.
Absolutely, and then you had the Liberty Division playing within their division, and you had the Frontier Division playing within their division, and I was especially looking forward to the PV O&J game in the Liberty Division, which we'll talk about.
Okay, and now before we get started, we normally bring up our top 5, and this week is certainly no exception to that. And again, I want to thank the Reinhardt boys, the Reinhardt Paints. They've been around for a long, long time, since the 40s. Started by old Deacon Reinhardt, their father. He was a heck of a football player and a great guy as well. But there's Keith and Ronnie, and they help us. They're very supportive, 2 good football players in their own right back in the day, Ronnie being a Hall of Famer. Okay, let's look at the top 5 and what we have here. We have Pottsgrove is still staying at number 1 spot. They're going to be tough to knock from that perch. Rick Pennypacker has himself a pretty good team at 5-0. Park Valley with a big win last week in a game where they knocked off an undefeated squad at home. They are 4-1. Pope John Paul, they're doing a heck of a job in that Frontier Division. They are undefeated. They are 5-0. Spring 4, look out for them, Jim. They're starting to round into form as we get into division play. And O&J Roberts, drops down to the number 5 spot with their loss at Perkiomen Valley. And again, thank you to the Reinhardt boys and the Reinhardt Paint for sponsoring our top 5. Well, let's go right to that number 1 squad, Jim.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about Pottsgrove and Upper Marion. Upper Marion having a tough go of it. Victor Brown in his first year there, trying to get his program on track, but they've had a tough time scoring. Offensively, they haven't been able to play well yet, but Pottsgrove jumps out on top and 49-zip the Grove.
Let me say something first about Upper Marion and Vic Brown. Here's a guy coming in first year. A lot of work to do, has to hire a staff, got to get the kids in the weight room. So people down at Upper Marion are going to have to be a little patient. It's going to take some time. He's a good football man, Vic Brown. I knew him from college. He'll get it going, and it's tough. And sometimes you don't see good jobs being done at some levels because they're just not winning.
Yeah, and again, it's been a tough go for them. They've had a hard time scoring. They were shut out again by the Grove, and certainly Pottsgrove with a solid defense. You know, Rick Pennypacker has always taken a lot of pride in that. Timmy Hughes, one-year-old guy, was a defensive coordinator there for many years, and he got them really solid in their defensive schemes, and they certainly have taken up right where he has left off since he got out of the coaching business. But, you know, again, everything starts and ends with Rasul Faison, and you don't want to sound like a broken record, but again, he just did a heck of a job. He's certainly one of the premier talents in the Pioneer Athletic Conference. 5 touchdowns and almost 300 yards. And what else can you say about Faison?
Can't say much else. His stats speak for himself. Both of us aren't big into stats, but his stats are amazing. Is Rasul Faison the version of Penn State's Shaquan Barkley? I mean, both on their level, great running backs. And Rasul had 5 touchdowns. He had 28 yards on the first play from scrimmage. He runs 28 yards for a touchdown. He had 18 attempts for 283 yards and 5 touchdowns. Sometimes that's a season's work.
I know. Yeah, he really did a heck of a job, and Victor Brown paid him the ultimate compliment by calling him hands down the best running back he has seen this year and probably will see for the remainder of the year. But again, you have to go back to that offensive front. Rick Pennypacker coaches those O-linemen, Jim, and we've talked about that. He takes a lot of pride in those guys, and Hurt Ephraim and those guys really do a heck of a job. You know, Bedolis, Ryan Bedolis is a pretty good player, a two-way guy at tight end and defensive end. And they just have a lot of people. Janisek, who was one of the strongest kids in the league in that interior front, the offensive line continuing to block anybody who comes in front of them.
Well, I'll continue what you're saying about the offensive line. Year in, year out, without any question or imagination, Pottsgrove has the best offensive line probably in the league, especially in the Frontier Division. They are solid, they're well coached, they're strong, and that's why they win. Certainly Faison's a special player, but nobody runs unless they get some blocking. I would like to say something about the quarterback play at Pottsgrove, Jay Sisko. He's throwing at about 75% in the 4 or 5 games that they've played. And somebody said, well, they don't throw the ball that much. Well, you don't have to. If your percentage is up around 75, he threw 3 passes, 2 were completed, 1 touchdown pass to Avery Grant, a very good wide receiver. So they got the whole package. When you can run the ball and play defense to begin with, and when you do decide to throw the ball, I don't care how many times, but you're having success with it, that's what offense is all about.
It certainly is, and they start loading up the boxes, try to stop Faison. Next thing you know is Sisko has proven that he can throw the football. He, as you said, completes a high percentage of his passes, doesn't throw a lot, but he's usually right on the mark. In a game that we saw here on the PCTV network a few weeks ago, he threw some beautiful deep balls especially. 390 yards rushing, 476 total yards. And again, they only gave up 52 to Upper Marion. So again, that defense really has risen to the occasion as well.
They're the standout division, or the standout team in that division, without a doubt.
Well, let's go down to the second game in that Frontier Division. Again, Pope John Paul, Rory Graver doing a heck of a job. 5-0 for the first time in school history, as you see the score there on our Izzy's on Third scoreboard. Make sure you stop over there and tell Kurt and Steve and the guys we sent you. I was there Saturday afternoon for lunch. I had a great time watching college football. 38-13 as they jump all over the Trojans here at the Grigg Memorial. So it was certainly a tough go for the Trojans, but a big win for the 5-0 Golden Panthers.
Best start in school history. So congratulations go out to Rory and his staff and his kids. They're playing very, very well. And you know, Dave, they do have a lot of skilled kids. The quarterback is one of the better players in the league. They got Natali, they got Sereno, etc. They got a couple other kids that can catch and run the football. I think the whole thing that revolves around Pope John Paul is the offensive line play. And right now, according to Coach Graver, that offensive line is playing very, very well. But they're going to have to when they get up against the Pottsgroves and the Upper Perks.
Absolutely. Again, A.J. Natali, you mentioned him last week as a guy who's really on the rise. He's only a junior. He rushed for almost 150 yards. Bill Steen, you know, we've heard those Bill Steens have been playing at Pius and Pope John Paul for many, many years. Again, another good all-around high school football player, 80 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Matt DeLaurentis, you mentioned, one of the things that I think he has really progressed in his game, Coach, is his ability to run the football. Last year, he was primarily a thrower first. Now he's able to tuck the football, and he picked up 81 yards and actually scored 2 touchdowns on the ground against the Trojans.
He can throw from the pocket. He can throw off the fake, off the bootlegs and stuff like that, and he does have good speed. He's a nice-sized kid, big hands, and he can throw the ball deep, so he is a threat every time he touches the football.
And one of the things Rory Graver said after the game is he really likes his group. They have a mature group. They're able to get through things. They understand things. They won an ugly game the week before. They won a game that they were supposedly to win on paper. They were the better team against Pottstown, and they certainly did prove that. Let's give a little kudos to Jamal Adams, a kid that I really liked and that I saw Pottstown play against Bishop Shanahan a couple weeks ago when they turned on the lights for the first time, and I was proud to be a part of that whole game and festivities. Jamal Adams caught 5 balls for 125 yards and their touchdown. Owen Morton doing an okay job, getting better, setting his feet and not losing technique on his throws, Jim.
Coach Fisher has these kids playing football, and that's what's important. And early in the game, from the first quarter halfway into the second quarter, this was a good ball game. Coach Graver said it himself. Good, tough ball game. So give Pottstown kids and coaching staff a lot of congratulations. And the one thing that I looked at that I didn't like was just too many penalties.
So, you know, that's
it
been their
kills you.
bugaboo. And again, you know, offsides, false starts, things
Yep.
like that, which, you know, you work so hard on at practice. I'm not sure what the situation is there, but Mark Fisher, who won his first game as the head coach 2 weeks ago, I'm sure will be back to the drawing board with that game for Pottstown. Now, the last game in the Frontier Division was Upper Perk, who got spanked by Cocalico 2 weeks ago, and they were able to lick their wounds. They had a good week of practice. They were excited about taking on the Phantoms of Phoenixville, and they able to run up some big numbers on offense and win that game 44-20, Jim.
Well, they did get beat pretty good the week before, 56-0, but give them credit for coming back. Coach Hans had them ready to go, and here we go with Tyler Wary and Tyrese Reed. 5 touchdowns between them. Combined 306 yards. You know what that averages out to a carry? 10 yards per carry by those 2 kids.
Yeah.
So they got some weapons. They're tough defensively. Upper Perk is always tough over there defensively. I know Cocalico is very, very good, but I was surprised at the score.
I was too the week before, but again, a good job by Coach Hans and his staff. He said they had a great week of practice. Tyler Kaiser is their quarterback, who was a wideout last year. Kendra is a guy who's a good two-way player. Didn't see much out of him in that game against Phoenixville, but he certainly is a heck of a player. Travis Pinella from Phoenixville Jim, had a big game as he rushed for 150 yards and a touchdown. But Coach Brichblad is still trying to figure out how to get these guys playing more consistently, and defensively they still have problems tackling and holding down the other team.
Coach Breisblack continues to be very positive about his team, and that's very, very important because you got to be positive with kids when they're not winning. And they did take the opening kickoff, drove 81 yards for a touchdown, and took the early lead against Upper Perk, which they came ready to play. But the thing that took my imagination here is both teams combined had 560 yards total offense. Isn't there any defense played anymore?
That's what I said. You never were a part of any
That would
game
drive me
like
crazy.
That. I know. I could just see you on the sidelines. And I know how you loved to run the football back in the day, and defense. I can't even imagine what you would have been like on the sidelines of a game with nearly 600 total yards in offense. Well, you know what, Jim? We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to look at the large schools now, or the Liberty Division. We got a couple interesting games on that side of the docket as well. So we're going to take a quick timeout. Jim, Mick, Dave Ridenour here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. Stay tuned for more right after this.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Doc Watson's is one of the hottest new sports bars around. Located next to Zern's Market in Boyertown, Doc's offers something for everyone. From live entertainment to countless draft beers, from great burgers to the new outside patio, from the numerous TVs to the friendly Doc service. Doc Watson's is the place to be. So stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a great bite to eat on a nice fall night. Doc Watson's.
Welcome to the office of John H. Greismeyer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, where that involves income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we're committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you. John H. Greismeyer Jr. Call us or visit our website now.
Back here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show, Dave Ridenour, Jim Mick, breaking down all the local high school action here in the Pioneer Athletic Conference. Let's jump over on the Liberty Division side of the game now. And a game that was sort of interesting is both these two teams were winless at this point. They both were looking for a win. Last year, they went back and forth in a game that came right down to the wire. Boyertown and Methacton. You know, Paul Dupree's really had a tough go of it here in the early part of the season. And we talked to T.J. Miller on the show last week with Jerry Cap. And what do you know? They both had a good game. Cap had a big game. And Boyertown comes on top, 54-14 over the Warriors of Methacton.
Great win for Boyertown. And I'd like to send my kudos out to T.J. Miller, first-year coach coming in. How to put a staff together, etc. All of those things are very difficult and time-consuming. And they did, we're not going to get into it, but they did have some internal problems on the coaching staff. Coach Miller has hung tough with those kids. They've stayed with him, and they come up with a big 54-14 win around the three big players on that team. Now, everybody's important. I realize that. But you got Aiden Mathias at quarterback. You got Cap, one of the outstanding athletes in the league, and you got a good, tough running back by the name of Marcus Thomas. So it's nice to see them improve.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't. And again, I could feel the enthusiasm and the emotion in our interview last week when I had TJ and Jerry Cap on there. You know, he's sitting on the edge of his seat. He's ready to go, and he's an intense guy. And I really enjoyed our first meeting with TJ Miller, and he's certainly a guy that we're all rooting for. We root for everyone, but he's certainly a guy we are rooting for. As you mentioned, they had a couple things going on over there at Boyertown. They seem to have them all ironed out. out and ready to rock and roll. Cap with 2 touchdowns, had a pick 6 from the defensive side, also had a big touchdown reception. We talked about Aiden Matthias getting better as a quarterback in his decision-making process.
That's a tough offense to run, that option offense, and he's getting better each week. Plus, he's a very capable thrower off the option itself. And I want to mention, too, about the defense at Boyertown. They did have 4 interceptions. So Paul is struggling down there, but I know Paul's putting in a lot of time to get this thing straightened out and get the kids some positive aspects to their game.
All right, let's give some kudos to their quarterback, Dylan Schultz, who was sort of running for his life on Friday night, but did a heck of a job. He was responsible for both touchdowns that Methacton scored in their 14-point offensive thrust. So, again, another big night for Boyertown, 323 yards on offense. And, again, congratulations to TJ with his first big win. Let's go down and check out the Saturday afternoon game in Norristown. Springford travels down to take on the Norristown squad, the Eagles. And they were able to jump all over them, started off early and continued. Jumped out ahead and really kept the pressure on the Norristown Eagles and beat them 49-6 as Chad Brubaker's gang is really starting to round into shape here as they head into divisional play.
Well, you're absolutely right. And they do have a great mix between the run and the pass. But on Saturday, they did have some early struggles on offense. They had a couple of turnovers or a couple of fumbles. They had a couple of 3 and outs. But late into the first half, they got it going. This DeFrancesco kid is the second leading rusher in the league. He had 16 attempts for 163 yards. Little guy, as we talked about last year, 5 touchdowns. So when you're going to play Springford, you better be ready to defend the run and the pass as they have a good mix.
Absolutely. DeFrancesco gained 170 on the ground and caught 5 more passes and a touchdown for those 5 touchdowns that you talked about, Jim. He is second behind Faison, who has actually passed the 1,000-yard mark already early in the season. DeFrancesco at about 650 yards. But again, we must talk about TJ Pergine, who I know Chad Brubaker really gives a lot of things for him to do, puts a lot on his shoulders, but Pergine has done a nice job, completed a high number, 13 out of 19, and 3 touchdowns at that quarterback spot, Jim, for the Rams.
Well, he's a gunslinger, as we said before. He throws the ball. He likes to throw the ball. Plus, what surprised me early, he's pretty strong coming out on the runs, etc. He gives defenses a lot to defend.
Well, Isaiah Webb on the other side, the quarterback for Norristown, threw the ball 36 times as they got behind, and they really couldn't run the ball against the Rams. He did have some success completing 18 of them and a touchdown for 200-plus yards for the Eagles. I'm sure that Coach Powell is getting those young guys working. They are a very young team in Norristown, with some of them with really some bright futures.
They played very inspirational football. I saw the game in the third quarter. You know, they were down 28-0. They played hard in the third quarter, but the Rams' defense is pretty good. They're young, but they keep getting better. They caused 3 turnovers, blocked a punt, which set up another touchdown. So Saturday, Springford had all cylinders working.
That's it. Like I said, Chad Brubaker is getting them peaking at the right time. And then, of course, the final game, the PCTV network game that Scott Furman and I were able to call down at Keenan Stadium in Perk Valley, as PV jumps all over the previously undefeated O&J Roberts Wildcats, 27-0. And again, I don't even think the game was that close, Jim. PV had some opportunities, particularly in the first half, to really salt that game away and didn't convert on a couple of different plays. But, boy, they really set the tone up early. O&J had terrible field position. They seemed to couldn't get out of their own way, if you will. And give PV a lot of credit. Robbie Heist in his second year has those kids playing well again.
Robbie and his staff got it going down there. And to be honest with you, Dave, I was disappointed. I didn't know who was going to win the game. But O&J is a veteran team. Perk Valley is fairly young. A lot of those names we didn't recognize. But they're coming out and they're playing tough. O&J certainly had poor field position early in the game. You did the game. But PV caused that. And then they had 4 turnovers. Well, you're not going to win a close football game when you turn the ball over 4 times.
And I was really disappointed in the lack of emotion for, to be perfectly blunt about it. I thought they'd come out all fired up. It was a great crowd, particularly on the home side. They had some of the midget football guys there. They had all kinds of people running around for PV. Their student body was awesome. The band was cranked up. O&J brought a decent crowd. I thought they might bring a little bit more when they were undefeated, but I just was surprised at the lack of emotion for O&J. And again, they just could not get anything going. Dawson Stewart was sort of running around back there trying to find open receivers. The secondary of PV, Coach, I was really, really impressed with.
They're always good in the secondary. Always good. You know what stat really stuck out in my mind? O&J defense limited PV to 61 yards rushing. Okay, so you look at that stat and you say, pretty good job. But they gave up almost 250 yards passing. Yeah. Secondary is going to need some work this week, or the pass rush.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Cole Peterlin, really, he's almost a clone of Steven Sturm. He's a lefty, he's tall, he's lanky, he throws a nice tight spiral, he throws a good ball, made some good decisions, threw a couple nice deep balls. Isaiah Domini really came up strong. He's a big, strong receiver. Looks like he has good, solid hands. Made a couple nice catches. They got Schimpf, they got Remy, they got Sell, they got all these guys that, they're not coming out in the field. They're going to scare you, Jim. They're not. They don't have big 6'9" guys and big-looking people, but boy, they get after you. Their little nose guard, I love.
Kevin Lovett.
Love it, yeah. He's in there. You never know where he's going to line up. He looks like an old Demetrio from Pottsgrove, but he gets in there and causes all kinds of havoc. And considering the fact that Alec Jackson, one of their best defenders, did not play with a sore shoulder, they really played well defensively.
They have for the last number of years. They wouldn't have had the success that they had. And as you said, and I agree totally, when they come out on the field, they're not real impressive. You take that Lovett kid at nose guard, he's not impressive at all. But when the ball is snapped, Katie bar the door.
Yeah,
he's going after you, and that's the way they are defensively. It's like they're cheating, like they got 13, 14 guys playing defense.
It does look that way. Yeah.
They got it going, and congratulations to them.
Well, it's that 3-5-3 defense, too, that a lot of teams have not been able to kind of figure out yet. They have not found the right combination to attack that 3-5-3 that West Virginia made fashionable a few years ago. And PV, with all their speed and guys that can run in that back eight, really do a nice job. All right, Jim, well, we're going to take another quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to look at the games coming up for this week, and then we're going to have meet our coach and player of the week who are waiting in the wings, so we're anxious to get going on with them as well. But we're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to look at this week's game, week 2 in divisional play in the Pioneer Athletic Conference. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
So you're officially married. Congrats! It's time to combine things. Your last names, your toothbrush holders, and your health insurance. When you combine policies, you can save and live happily ever after financially. Use the red key for more money-saving tips. Find yourself impulse buying uncontrollably? Here's a tip from Ben Franklin. Carry me in your wallet. Big bills are harder to give up. The next time you're tempted to impulse buy, you might not want to break a Benjamin. Use the red key and save.
The newly remodeled and renovated Creekside Sports Bar and Grill sits on the Landis Creek Golf Course. Featuring live entertainment and weekly specials, the Creekside offers something for everyone. Discounted beer and wing prices during all Eagles games brings a being at the game feeling. With tailgating, big screen TVs, and wearing your team colors, you can bring the fall spirit to Creekside. So stop by the Creekside Sports Bar and Grill and see all the fun things it has to offer.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years, specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
Welcome to the office of John H. Greismeyer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, where that involves income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we're committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you. John H. Greismeyer Jr. Call us or visit our website now.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
Unseasonably warm out this weekend and today, and it's a little warm in our studio here with these bright lights, but Coach and I are hanging in there. All right, Jim, we got a couple of games we want to talk about. Let's start in the Liberty Division. Let's start out with Methacton and Springford, and boy, unfortunately, that doesn't look like such a good matchup here on paper. I know Paul Dupree's guys are all banged up. He's losing some players, and Springford starting to turn it on. Doesn't look good for the Warriors.
Well, you know, on paper it looks like a mismatch, and that's what it may be. Because as you said, Springford's playing pretty well on both sides of the football. Their young kids are getting better. You know, I know the Methacton kids team squad is down in numbers. A lot of kids going down. But I know the type of character that Paul Dupree is, and he's going to get his kids to play as hard as they possibly can.
Yeah, we're rooting for Paul. He's certainly a great guy. Norristown goes to Owen J. Roberts now. Again, check your local listings because some of these games are Thursday night with the Jewish holiday taken into consideration. So there will be some Thursday night games as well as Friday night games. So make sure that you check with your local ADs or also your local listings here. But Norristown coming off a tough loss to Springford, traveling to Owen J. Owen J. looking to get well after getting handled by PV on Friday night, Jim.
Dave, I don't want to correct you, but I think I read that this Norristown at Owen J is for Saturday night at 7. I could be wrong, but I thought I read that. Well, you don't want to play a good team after a tough loss, and that's what Owen J is. I think Owen J is a good football team. They had a bad loss. But I'll also say this about Norristown. They came out after being down 28-0, and they played their tails off in the second half against Springford. And they got that Isaiah Webb kid, and they got a couple other kids with speed, etc. That could give, if Owen J doesn't come ready to play, Norristown will give them a good tussle.
And again, I hope to see Owen J rebound and come out and play with some emotion. High school football is a lot of emotion and to play with fire. You only have 10 games a year, maybe some more if you make the playoffs, but a 10-game season goes really fast, believe me. All right, and then we have PV coming off that big win, traveling up to Boyertown to take on TJ Miller's gang, fresh off their first win. PV certainly riding a pretty good high now as well. All their young players are now maturing into mid-season form, and again, they're not youngsters anymore. Now they got some games under their belt, particularly against the likes of the Downing Towns and the Penn Ridges and the Upper Dublin. So they're going to be ready for the Boyertown Bears.
They had a great pre-league schedule, PV. But you got two teams, both coming off big wins. Boyertown with 54 points, PV with a big win against Owen J. And PV's going to have to be ready to handle the triple option. And because that's a disciplined type of defensive scheme, you got to have gap controls, somebody on the quarterback, somebody on the pitch, So it's just not helter-skelter. You've got to be disciplined. Knowing the Park Valley staff, they'll be well disciplined.
Okay, on the other side of the docket now in the Frontier Division, Phoenixville travels to Pope John Paul. And again, Phoenixville still trying to find its way here. I know Evan Brisblatt worked real hard in the off-season. He was really high on his team, but they haven't been able to play well defensively. And boy, they're going up against a tough offense in Matt DeLaurentis and Cerrone and all those guys. You know, they got some players.
They got some skilled kids for that Class 4. They got some skilled kids, as you said, with DeLaurentis and Sereno, etc. They got some skilled kids. As I said previously, I think how far they go depends upon the offensive line and how it continues to develop. But Coach Graver and his guys have done a great job down there. And Coach Brisblatt is very positive with his team. That's an attitude I like to see. He'll have them ready to play. And last week they took the opening kickoff and went down and scored, and then things happened that they didn't want to happen. But he'll have them ready. Keep them healthy, keep them playing.
Okay, Upper Marion now travels to Upper Perk. Upper Marion, we talked about Victor Brown trying to get those guys going in the right direction. He is a good football guy, played a lot of college football, knows the game real well, a good young guy, and hopefully Upper Marion sticks with him for a while so he can get those things going. But again, Upper Perk, Tommy Hodge with a big win over Phoenixville, and they like their chances against Upper Marion.
Well, Vic has his hands full in Upper Marion. They have their hands full playing against a very, very good running attack with Tyler Wary and Tyrese Reed. Plus, we also forgot to mention that they got some receivers that can catch the ball.
Absolutely.
So Upper Marion has their work cut out for them.
They certainly do. And the last game is an old backdoor rivalry. It was used to be a great, great game. Pottstown and Pottsgrove. The last few years, Pottsgrove has really been able to handle the Trojans, but for years that backyard rivalry was really one of the best ones around. Rick Pennypacker's gang is #1 here in our top 5 and undefeated. Mark Fisher and his gang are going to have to really play a good game to hang with Rashul Faison and Jay Sisko and the gang over there at Pennypacker Field.
Well, who knows more about that game than you do?
Nobody.
All those years
Nobody.
that you played
That's
and
exactly.
And coached and everything like that. The competitive nature between the two schools. So you tell me what Pottstown's got to do, because I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what they have to do. They have to tackle better. They have to get some good offensive line play because Rick is going to be aggressive on defense. They've been blitzing more. That he loves his secondary. They can lock down on guys. Delp and his corners are pretty good athletes. You know, and then they get pass rush with Bedolis and those guys. So it's going to be tough for Pottstown. They got to control the football. Morton cannot make mistakes. He's got to try to find the Wiggins boys out there. But Jamal Adams and Figueroa and those guys have to play well defensively.
How about the emotion?
Well, there should be lots of that flying around on Friday night. All right, Jim, well, I want to say thanks again for stopping by. It's always a pleasure. We had a great time here on the show, and we're excited about talking to our coach and player of the week who are sitting right here in the wings, and they're going to be ready to mic up and be on the show here in any second. So we're going to take a quick time out. We're going to change the set around a little bit. We get the player of the week getting organized and also the coach right here on the Vallejo Stun Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
So you're officially married. Congrats! It's time to combine things. Your last names, your toothbrush holders, and your health insurance. When you combine policies, you can save and live happily ever after financially. Use the red key for more money-saving tips. Find yourself impulse buying uncontrollably? Here's a tip from Ben Franklin. Carry me in your wallet. Big bills are harder to give up. The next time you're tempted to impulse buy, you might not want to break a Benjamin. Use the red key and save.
The newly remodeled and renovated Creekside Sports Bar and Grill sits on the Landis Creek Golf Course. Featuring live entertainment and weekly specials, the Creekside offers something for everyone. Discounted beer and wing prices during all Eagles games brings a being at the game feeling. With tailgating, big screen TVs, and wearing your team colors, you can bring the fall spirit to Creekside. So stop by the Creekside Sports Bar and Grill and see all the fun things it has to offer.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years, specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
Welcome to the office of John H. Greismeyer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, where that involves income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we're committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you. John H. Greismeyer Jr. Call us or visit our website now.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
We're back here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. Dave Ridenhour, and part of the show that I really look forward to. And again, I want to thank my good friends down at the Trophy and Plaque Shack, Mr. Charlie Pierce, and the Ritwich boys down at the Complete Graphics on High Street for helping me out here as we get ready for our Player of the Week. And Rob Heist, the second-year coach from Perkiomen Valley, and Brendan Schimpf, the do-about-everything guy for Perk Valley, is our Player of the Week and Coach of the Week here. And guys, first of all, congratulations on a big win, and thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having us, Steve.
All right, Coach, first of all, you know, we talked a little bit last year about different things, and in your second year now, I'm sure things, as they say on the field, are slowing down a little bit for you and stuff. Tell us a little bit how the second year is going for you as opposed to your first year when you were transitioning into the head coaching position.
Well, you know, I was very fortunate to coach under Scott Reed for over 10 years and sort of learn from the things that I thought that he did very well, and he did many things outstanding in my opinion. So the transition last year was fairly easy for me, and we've been blessed with some great kids. It's no different this year. We have 24 amazing seniors, so they really make my job easy, and it's a pleasure, and I love doing it every day.
Yeah, Scott Reed certainly did a heck of a job of building that program. 12 years he was the head coach, and I know you were an offensive coordinator, an offensive guy for quite a few of those years. And again, I guess it was a pretty seamless transition for you, and it didn't hurt that you had Jaworski and Sturm and Williams and all those guys as well.
For sure.
So I'm sure it made your job a lot easier. Now this year, you know, you come in with high expectations, even though you were 5-0 and undefeated in the Pioneer Athletic Conference last year and won your interdivisional play against Pottsgrove, 12-1 overall. Did you have a lot of expectations on you this year, Brendan, or how did you see this whole thing turning out during your senior year?
Oh, well, trusted a lot of guys I played with for a while. I knew we'd get after it in the off season. For me and a couple other seniors personally, you just got to lead them, make sure you put them on the track that the seniors before us put us on, get hard work, and that's that.
Well, I guess, you know, playing with some of those guys, we talked about the Jaworskis and the Sturms and the Williamses, and of course you had Jimenez and Owens and all those guys. You had some pretty good role models to look up to.
Yeah, I mean, they're great role models. They're good guys on and off the field. They're great football players. They're always hardworking. just good guys to look after.
Well, and again, you got a good young coach here that it's funny. I'm an old school guy, and I'm around at some of the coaches' meetings, get a chance to talk to you, and you're texting your guys, and you're making sure they're all on this stuff. And I look at Jim Mick and we're like dinosaurs, and it's pretty cool the way you stay connected with your guys and your team and keep up with what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, technology is amazing, right? So I like to keep after our kids and make sure they're doing the right thing and check up on them when they're a little banged up after a game. And I just think having those open lines of communication are huge. So.
How is that communication with the coach? Obviously, an open door policy. You get a chance to talk to him. Do you discuss game planning at all? What's going well? Tell us a little bit about your relationship.
Really good relationship. Well, I have him as a teacher as well this year, so that's always nice to get to make some football talk in the classroom. But yeah, he's always a guy you can go and talk to whenever you need anything, or if you have any suggestions about football, or you can always have a football conversation with him.
Well, I know, because I know Coach Mick used to coach and teach at Pius, but his whole class was X's and O's and stuff. Do you get any work done in his class at all, Brendan?
Yeah, I mean, on the game days, it's tough to get some work done. He normally tries to put something to give him a little break. Normally gives a test or something so he can just sit at his computer and watch film. But yeah, he makes the kids do work more. He just supervises.
Okay, well, I'm glad the principal's not watching during this part of the show. But it is good, and I really have noticed that, and it's certainly something I respect and admire, that you are able to put together that kind of relationship with these young guys, and they certainly do relate to you. And that is such a big thing in today's world. All you hear is these negative stories about this and that and that. You guys seem to have a pretty good deal going on down there.
For sure. I mean, like I said, I can't say enough about our kids. This kid in particular, it doesn't get any better. He's cream of the crop. He's president of his class, captain of our football team. He's a 4.6 GPA. So, coaching and teaching him is, I wake up every morning and love my job.
Well, it's funny because every year you bring somebody down, and they're always not only good football players, they're always good-looking guys, and they always have to be sitting next to me. And Brendan is certainly no exception there, buddy. I tell you, good for you with all the things that's happening and doing that schoolwork. And a lot of the youngsters out there like to watch these shows, and they like to watch and see you guys without your helmets on. And it's always great to hear that you got a 4.6 and you're doing well in school. And I'm sure that takes a lot of priorities in your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now, is your parents a big part of that too, or they ride you pretty good about your studies?
I mean, they kind of give me the freedom to kind of be my own person, but more so my mom than my dad. My mom's always like, "You got your homework done?" My dad's like, "You watching film?" So it goes both ways, I guess.
Well, that's the way it normally is. Moms are always the one to put the hammer down. That's for sure. And thank God for moms. That's no doubt about it. Now, you did have some good players coming back, though. You had your center back, who I thought was a very underrated guy. And I said during our telecast the other night when Scotty Furman and I were on there that, you don't realize how important your center is when you play, particularly out of the spread formation, how those snaps have to be right on. And Jameer Holmes, he really does a nice job for you.
Oh, Jair is outstanding. I mean, we're hurry up and a spread offense, and a lot of our calls are being made in the cadence. So our linemen have a lot of pressure on them to realize what the quarterback's calling and decide what their assignment is in a matter of seconds. And Jair makes a lot of those calls. He's been outstanding for us for 3 years.
Well, he certainly has, and he's grown up a little bit. He's actually playing a little D for you this year, put some size on that defensive side of the ball. And Brendan, you go both ways. You play a little offense, carry the ball a little bit, play some defense. Is there one of those two that you prefer over the other?
I mean, I don't really prefer one or the other. I just love being on the field. I do like playing with my guys on defense. They're a bunch of crazy guys, Fair and Love and Malik and all of those guys. I mean, they're fun to play with, but on offense, is good guys too.
Well, it's always fun to try to carry the ball and get in the end zone, as you were able to do that on Friday night against O&J. And let's talk a little bit about that game, O&J, Coach, and what kind of things were your concerns? Obviously, they were 4-0. They had some things going on. They beat a nice Westchester Henderson team. They won some games. How did you approach that the O&J game? Excuse me.
Well, I mean, there was a number of things about O&J that concerned me going into the game. They're pretty well balanced offensively, senior-heavy team, threw the ball well, ran the ball well, had some speed. I don't remember the kid's name, but little number 3, their outside zone player, good running back. Of course, Dawson Stewart's been around the league for a number of years now, throws a good football, and their defense was outstanding. Watching them on film, man, they flew around. They seemed to get pressure on the quarterback. They were good in coverage. So, I was expecting an outstanding football game. I think it was one of those games Coach Kolka had his kids well prepared, and it just sort of got some bounces our way and started to snowball for us a little bit, and we were fortunate to come out on the positive side of it.
Now, when you play both ways, do you tend to put more time in one side of the ball or the other, or you try to do 50-50? How do you get yourself ready, and how do you prepare for a game or a team like O&J?
The coaches do a great job of getting us the things we need. Our defensive coaches always give us a sheet for everything we need to know for the games. We run through it all at practice. Being in the offense for my second year now, a lot of things are second nature to me now. So it's not as much mentally on offense as on defense, but it happens.
Well, you got a new quarterback now.
Yeah.
Obviously, a guy that just left who rewrote almost everything that was to be written. And you have a junior in Cole Peterlin, who I think is sort of a spitting image of Steven Sturm. Tell me a little bit about how his progression has come along, Brendan.
In the beginning of the season, there was some questions because we had a couple guys going after the quarterback spot. When Coach announced that Peterlin would be the starter, we all got behind him, made sure we were leading example for him. And, he actually blew my expectations away. He played way above what I thought he'd be playing at.
Yeah, and then you got another sophomore, Moshe, really coming on and doing a lot of different things for you as well. So you got a good mixture of some of these seniors and then some of the young guys coming in.
Yeah, I mean, Cole has been outstanding for us so far. I couldn't be prouder with his progression in these first 5 games. I hope, that continues at that pace, and I think it will. He's a great kid. He's willing to learn. He's coachable. John Moshe is a special football player. I love watching him run the ball. He's got great hips. He's a sponge. He's just absorbing everything that we're doing, and I feel like he's learning and improving every week. Comes from a great family, and I'm excited for his future.
Yeah, certainly are some of those young guys. And, of course, my guy Sel and Max Nice and all those guys that just are fun to watch. You watch those guys, and you think, oh, my gosh. And then you see him go up and break up a play. You see Nice going man-to-man with Stewart when they put him out there and intercepts the ball and all those little defensive backs. I mean, how do you get those defensive backs to play so well week in and week out?
Well, I mean, I think that starts with the kids. They're just tenacious. They're aggressive. They're willing to practice hard and get ready for the next opponent. And we have to look at our defensive coordinator, Matt Young. I can never say enough about him. He puts in countless hours, prepping against the other team's offense. And our defensive back coach this year, Jim Bildstein, who you mentioned his youngest son Jake playing at PJP this year, and he's having a great start to his season. Jim has been around the league for a long, long time, and he does an outstanding job with our kids. So.
Well, and is Sel the one with the club? Sel had the club, okay. Yep. I always get you and Sel mixed up for some reason. You guys remind me of one another. You guys are both scrappers in there. But, I mean, he goes out there and makes plays and catches the ball with a big old cast and club on his hand. I guess that's got to fire you up, too, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking before the game. We were running through our offense. I'm like, are you playing tonight? I'm like, where's the club? And he's like, I'll get the club on. I think I'll play offense. So I was like, how are you going to catch that thing? He's like, don't worry about it. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, and he made a couple real nice catches with that. And again, and also your offensive lineman who went down.
Zach Brewer.
Yeah, Brewer, right? And I was like, oh, my goodness. And they stopped. I said, oh, I'm hoping for a cramp there because it was a very, very warm night. But they bring out the golf cart and they put him on there. I said, well, that's not good. And next thing you know, he's back in the ball game. And a lot of tough kids.
For sure. Yep. Yeah, they're an honor to coach. I love it. It's a great time.
Well, it was surprising to me because I wanted to see how Jackson was going to play because last year at the end of the year I thought he really came on strong for you and I read the Downingtown West coach said that we couldn't block him. I mean, he was all over the place. He had millions of tackles and so on. How's his situation? Hopefully he'll be back in the fold.
Yeah, I mean, I'm anxious to find out. Alex getting evaluated today, so I should know some more information on him tomorrow. He has a shoulder issue going on. He's been incredible on both sides of the ball. We have him playing tight end when we're in 11 and 21 personnel sets, and he's playing defensive tackle for us, and he's been outstanding. So he's got a great motor. He doesn't seem to tire. So I'll be eager to get him back out on the field.
Oh, Dela Cruz played a good game for you. He caught my eye. I said I have a couple of guys that I thought Malik Smith played well. And again, Little Lovett running around the middle. Shine is a guy that's got some experience. So, I mean, you get to work with those guys. I'm sure they are fun to play with.
Yeah, they're all intense on defense. Call ourselves the Goon Squad. We just love playing with energy.
Well, you certainly do play with a lot of energy, and that 3-5-3 defense is still certainly one that a lot of people have confusion with, but it's fun to play, huh?
Yeah, it's fun to play. It's mostly reading, so you're not like set to a gap. You kind of go with the play as it goes, watch off your linemen, things like that.
And again, wrapping up and making sure that they don't break tackles. Rob, I think your club does as good a job as anybody in that area, and I'm sure that's something you take a lot of pride in.
For sure. I mean, that's a testament to our heads-up football player safety coach, Don Limberger, who we work on heads-up skills and drills and techniques every single day. Even on offensive days, we're out there working on high and low-profile tackling and just trying to make the game safer and more enjoyable for our kids while still keeping that physicality and aggressiveness.
You know, Jim and I talked, and particularly Coach Mick said about your pre-league schedule, your non-league schedule, I guess you can call it. You play some pretty solid teams, and your only hiccup so far is Penn Ridge, who a little bit deceiving in his final score was 29-zip, but you know they certainly had some pretty talented guys, and they had a little bit of revenge on their mind because last year we did that game and you handled them pretty well. Penn Ridge was a pretty solid squad for you, though.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Coach Hollenbach had his kids ready to play up there, and you know, there's no excuses, but we had some things that didn't go our way, you know, quite how we planned that night, and it just sort of snowballed against us. But, you know, I wouldn't be afraid to see Penn Ridge again down the line. I don't think our kids would, but they played a terrific game. They have some terrific football players up there, and, you know, that's our one blemish so far, but that one's in the past, and we're moving on.
Now, what did you take out of that as a team as well, Brendan? I mean, what did you know? No one likes to lose. There are no moral victories, but sometimes you can take some things out of a loss. Did you guys learn anything about that game?
Yeah, I think for me being a senior now and a couple of the young guys, that was like kind of our first taste of defeat. You know, we only really lost that one game last year.
Yeah.
I mean, we were undefeated through the regular season.
Right.
So it's nice to get that little reality check every once in a while.
Yeah, it brings you back down to earth and, again, gets you back there working pretty hard and getting yourself going. Now, obviously, coming into this year, you were relying on some of these seniors to step into the roles of the Jaworskis and the Sturms and the Owens and stuff. How has that gone for you besides, you know, Brendan, these guys have really stepped up to help out?
Well, I mean, it started back in January, the day after Christmas break for us. You know, I knew we were graduating some incredible talent, but right from the first couple weeks, I knew that this team was going to be gritty and blue-collar and tough kids, and their work ethic from, you know, you get into those kind of dog days of the off-season, March, April, and I never really saw any regression out of these kids. They were focused. They were sort of ready to get to the season, ready to lead, and it's been an outstanding group of senior leaders, so they fit right in there.
That's awesome. Okay, we got Boyertown coming up now. Your buddy Jerry Cap,
Yep.
I said we had him on the show the other day, and you said you were even hanging out with him a little bit on Saturday night. What do you got for Jerry Cap and the Bears this week?
I'm going to come ready to play, obviously bring a lot of intensity. I think if we play our game, we'll do well. If our defense plays our game, then I don't think they'll be able to do much on our defense.
Okay, well, again, a triple option now. Coach Miller's first year. Certainly something you don't see all the time, so it's going to take some discipline and some reading your keys. You said you are a reading defense to begin with, obviously. That is certainly one of the situations you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Miller's doing an incredible job, in my opinion. I see that team getting better every single week. You know, last week they scored 54 points. You know, I don't care who you're playing.
Yeah.
You score 54 points, and you know, your offense has to be clicking, and you're doing some nice things. So, you know, we'll be ready to play. We need to be disciplined in our option responsibilities for sure. But they have athletes all over the field, and it should be a good football game.
All right, guys. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming down. I have a certificate here for you, Brendan, which names you the Player of the Week for the Monday Morning Quarterback. Again, I want to thank all my good friends, the Ritwich boys down there at Complete Graphics on High Street in Pottstown. Give them a call. And my little my little mini Heisman that we have for you actually got damaged in shipping, and I will bring that down to your school this week, and I'll give it to you so that you can remember us here on the Monday Morning Quarterback. But I tell you what, it was fun to watch you guys. I'm sure we'll see you again down the line, but it was really nice to meet you, Brendan. Continue on with all your good work in school and on the field. And Rob, always a pleasure. Thanks, and we'll be in touch. All right, there's Rob Heist and our player of the week, Brendan Schimpf of the Perkiomen Valley Vikings. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got more right here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
So you're officially married. Congrats! It's time to combine things. Your last names, your toothbrush holders, and your health insurance. When you combine policies, you can save and live happily ever after financially. Use the red key for more money-saving tips. Find yourself impulse buying uncontrollably? Here's a tip from Ben Franklin. Carry me in your wallet. Big bills are harder to give up. The next time you're tempted to impulse buy, you might not want to break a Benjamin. Use the red key and save.
Doc Watson's is one of the hottest new sports bars around. Located next to Zern's Market in Boyertown, Doc's offers something for everyone. From live entertainment to countless draft beers, from great burgers to the new outside patio, from the numerous TVs to the friendly Doc service. Doc Watson's is the place to be. So stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a great bite to eat on a nice fall night. Doc Watson's.
Established in 1916 and granted membership into the Philadelphia Golf Association in 1920, Brookside Country Club is well known for its challenging layout and true fast greens. The William Gordon design provides a challenge for golfers of all abilities. Brookside Country Club offers traditional club amenities in a family-friendly atmosphere. Brookside Country Club, where elegance and excellence are par for the course.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
We're back here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. I'm Dave Ridenour, and again, I want to thank Rob Heist in his second year and doing a fantastic job down at Perkiomen Valley, and Brendan Schimpf, and you can see why he's such a success. 4.6 in the classroom, a great two-way player for a PV, and just a good all-around kid, president of his class, and so on and so on. So it's good to see those guys as well. Well, this is normally the time when we have the dynamic duo on there, and the dynamic duo is brought to you by Fred Beans of Boyertown, my main man, Denny Malloy. But Joe C. had to work tonight. Unfortunately, he got called into work. So I'll be trying to handle things by myself here. I'm going to miss my buddy Joe C., but hopefully he'll be back in studio with us again next week. But I do have somebody on the line. The phone lines are ringing here at our PCTV network studios. I have my good buddy Benny from from O&J now. He's usually Benny from Pottstown. I guess he'll always be Benny from Pottstown. But Benjamin, you're on the Monday Morning Quarterback.
David, don't ever say that again.
Yeah. Well, you're from Pottstown. I know that, even though you have moved and stepped up in the world a little bit into your retirement home. But it's always great to talk to you, buddy. I know that you're a big Eagles fan. You had season tickets for many, many years down there to see the Birds. Obviously, it was a big game against the Giants, a divisional game that is usually one that's filled with all kinds of things going on. Tell me a little bit about what your observations were as the Eagles were able to pull out a big win, 27-24 yesterday.
Okay, well, first of all, I have to admit, I listened to the game on the way home from Jersey in the car, and I saw the last 8 minutes, but it's the first time I listened, I think, ever to that much of a game, for 3.5 quarters.
Right.
And it was nice. It was actually, I enjoyed listening to Merle Reese, so I didn't get to see a lot of the plays. You have to kind of picture them when you listen. But I heard some good things. This Robinson kid seems like he's stepping it up a little bit in the defensive backfield. I heard his name called a lot.
Yeah, he had a good game. Yeah.
I'm concerned that I don't know what's going on with the injuries with Cox and Sproles, and who was the third guy? I forget there was a third guy that got hurt too.
Jordan Hicks, middle linebacker.
Oh yeah, Jordan. Yeah, and he's been great this year, I think.
Yeah. Well, Hicks and Fletcher Cox are day to day, minor little things. Unfortunately, Darren Sproles is out for the year. He tore his ACL and broke his arm on the same play.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, that guy has certainly been a spark plug and one of the best players for the Eagles over the last few years, but it appears that he will be out for the season, so they're going to have to try to find somebody, Benny, to step up and take his place and his role. But LeGarrette Blount and actually Smallwood did a better job of running the football yesterday, Benny. They ran the ball 39 times as opposed to 13 the week before, and people seemed to be pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and I heard that from listening to the game, and when I did get home, I was just in time to see that young kid, that rookie Corey Clement, take it in, and he looks strong.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I think he's going to get a lot more time now, especially since Sproles went down. I don't know if they're going to try to elevate somebody from the practice squad or bring in another guy who's out there as an unrestricted free agent or just a free agent, but I think Clement is going to get his time to show what he can do.
Yeah, me too. And what about Jalen Mills, Dave? How do you feel about him? I kind of like that kid.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think their secondary has gotten a lot better, and I think it all starts with the fact that they've been getting a lot of pass rush up front. I think that Jernigan's has been a great acquisition for him. Brandon Graham has been solid in there. Vinny Curry actually played very well yesterday, Benny. We've all been waiting for him now for a couple years. So it's all starting with the pass rush. The corners are able to lock down a little bit better.
Well, I think too, and here's what I think, kind of to wrap my opinions up here. I think when we can start running the ball, that keeps the defense honest. It's going to give Wentz more time. And these new receivers, I think they've improved it. The receiver position, absolutely, with better hands. But it still seems to me they're having a tough time getting open. He's holding on to the ball too long a lot, and that's why he's scrambling and getting sacked.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, yesterday, the secondary with Landon Collins and Rogers Cromartie, that's the strength of the Giants' defense for the most part. So they were having a hard time getting separation. Alshon Jeffrey is certainly more of a big receiver than he is a speed receiver. Even though he did catch some balls, they had him locked down, and I think you're right. Wentz is holding on to the ball a little bit longer than than maybe he should, but I'm sure that that little internal clock will start working with him as he gets more experience.
Oh yeah, I agree. Every game he looks, but I'll tell you, he never seems to fret. I mean, last week, look what he did at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I couldn't be happier for that for that kicker.
How about it?
Great
61 yards for a guy who was out on the practice squad or wherever he was with the Cleveland or Cincinnati Bengals, and and it's funny because he did have a game-winning kick on that field before, as he played for Memphis, and Memphis beat Temple. Yeah.
Right. I heard that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool too.
They interviewed Malcolm Jenkins after the game. I caught a bit, and they said, Have you talked to him at all? He goes, he's only been here for 10 days or 12 days.
Yeah.
And I never talked to him.
Yeah, guys didn't even know him. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm sure we'll have a conversation now.
Absolutely.
They off on their shoulders and a whole bit.
Yeah. What a great thing for a kicker, because kickers are like closers in baseball, Benny, man. You're either great or you're bad. There's no in between with them, and right now we're really happy for Jake Elliott. All right, Benny, well, listen, thanks for calling in. It's always great to see you. And if I don't see you before, I'll see you Friday, and we'll have some fun.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Thanks. Okay. Yep. That's my good friend Benny Eckroth. Eckroth Remodeling. He was a longtime sponsor on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show as well. Well, each week we do have a feature called The Game Ball, and The Game Ball was presented by my good buddy. Right there he is, Paul Strauss, at 943 North Hanover Street. He's been my guy. He's been here since our first shows. He's just been a good, loyal supporter, and we certainly do appreciate all the things that Paul has been able to do for us here on the show. And then also, he's my guy. He cuts my hair. He's my stylist, if you will. Well, there were a lot of good performances over the weekend. And one of the guys that, I didn't have much faith in, and it was funny, even though I picked his team to win, the Minnesota Vikings, quarterback Case Keenum for the Minnesota Vikings, threw for a career-high 369 yards and 3 touchdowns as the Vikings were able to win their game. The Vikings pulled away in a tough game against Tampa Bay. And my buddy Joe C. and Jimmy Vlahos both picked Tampa Bay. As when we get into our 5-pack picks, I'll bust on them a little bit. But Case Keenum had a heck of a day for the Minnesota Vikings as they were able to pull off a big win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, well, we got one more break to do. We're going to take that quick break, and when I come back, hopefully I'm going to have my son Christopher on the air. He wanted to call in and talk about things. He was at the game yesterday. He wanted to talk about the heat and all the fun that was going on there. So we'll try to get that hooked up while we take a quick break. And we come back, we have more here to go on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
So you're officially married. Congrats! It's time to combine things. Your last names, your toothbrush holders, and your health insurance. When you combine policies, you can save and live happily ever after financially. Use the red key for more money-saving tips. Find yourself impulse buying uncontrollably? Here's a tip from Ben Franklin. Carry me in your wallet. Big bills are harder to give up. The next time you're tempted to impulse buy, you might not want to break a Benjamin. Use the red key and save.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years, specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
The newly remodeled and renovated Creekside Sports Bar and Grill sits on the Landis Creek Golf Course. Featuring live entertainment and weekly specials, the Creekside offers something for everyone. Discounted beer and wing prices during all Eagles games brings a being at the game feeling. With tailgating, big screen TVs, and wearing your team colors, you can bring the fall spirit to Creekside. So stop by the Creekside Sports Bar and Grill and see all the fun things it has to offer.
Hey, we're back here on the Vlaho's Dunn Insurance Monday morning quarterback show. Dave Ryan there. I think my son Christopher's on the line. He's calling in and checking on his old man and letting us know what was going on down at the link yesterday. Christopher!
What's going on, old man?
All right, not much. What's happening, buddy?
Oh, just another hard day at work. That's about it.
And remember, you're on TV now because my son has a tendency to get a little wild and passionate and gets a little crazy. So make sure you tone her down a little bit there, son.
I want to follow in your footsteps.
I know you do. I know you do, man. That's what I love about you, son. Did you see we just had the PV guys on here, Coach Heist and also Brendan Schimpf. My son lives in Perkiomen Valley School District now, and he's certainly proud of that team, even though he is a arch rival from the Springford Rams squad. First of all, Christopher, tell us, man. Tell us about the heat down there in that stadium yesterday.
Well, they said it was 90, but it was definitely at least 105, I'll tell you that, especially for us in the sun the whole day.
Wow.
They ran out of water about 3 times. I couldn't even believe that's possible there. But it was definitely a hot one for sure.
Yeah, and again, I'm sure that you were all cranked up and fired up with your Eagles stuff on too. But being in that sun all day, I hope you at least had a hat on and stuff.
Yeah, I got the hat you got me for golf. So
okay.
That's what I wore down there.
Attaboy. All right, we got your picture up there on the screen right now too, my buddy, my pride and joy, number 55 for the Springford Rams with a big pick that day, and should have gone for a pick 6, but got tackled somewhere along the line, my main man for the Springford Rams. Well, that was a big win, though. Yeah, that was a big win, though, for the Eagles, though. The Giants always give them fits. It was a divisional win. They're now 2-1, 2-0 in division. So I guess everybody was pretty excited down there.
Absolutely. I mean, the stadium was bumping from the moment we got there. Me and Jim were there in the parking lot, 8:30 in the morning. Usually it's pretty clear, but there was a decent amount of people there all ready to go right when the gates were opened up. They came in, just got done what they needed to get done. That they were the better team, and you got to beat those teams you're supposed to beat. So
yeah,
that's what they did.
Well, it was sort of a bittersweet day. You and I both like Darren Sproles, and unfortunately on that play, it was sort of another freak accident. As you're seeing more and more of those, you're not seeing those really head-on collisions that you look like somebody's really going to be hurt. It's like these freak accidents where he tears his ACL and breaks his arm in the same play.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny in the stands. You kind of looked like his leg just gives out, and then all of a sudden he hops right back up as always. And it's like, oh, there's Darren again being tough as nails as usual. And then he's torn ACL and broken forearm. It's crazy.
Yeah, horrible. Well, how pumped up were the people down there to the fact that the Eagles were able to run the ball? Smallwood and Blunt both had pretty good games. They ran the ball 39 times for nearly 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Philadelphia people love that run game, and it looked like yesterday was working pretty good.
Absolutely. Stadium definitely was at its loudest when Blunt was carrying the ball, especially because he's that tough running style where he's bringing 2, 3, 4 guys with him and dragging people, running people over. And I think that's definitely when the stadium was loudest. He definitely got him going for sure early on.
Well, you can see that even the offensive linemen seemed to have like a little hop in their step too, and they were cheering up and down and doing some high fives and chest bumps and whatever when Blunt was at his best.
Absolutely. It gets everybody going. Everybody likes – the reason we watch football is for the physical play, right? So,
yep.
Being physical definitely brings out the best in everybody, and they got the right guy left guard. Now they should stick with Wisniewski, and he brings that attitude to the offense. Be good to go.
Yeah, like I said, that was my next thing. Old Stefan Wisniewski did a heck of a job. Old Chance Warmack didn't seem to have it his A game with him as he took over the left guard position from Siamalu. And but it looks like Wisniewski has won that position for the time being.
That's right. Penn State boy, right?
Yep.
State.
Yep.
He definitely brings that attitude, that John Runyon type attitude that you want. You need someone like that on the line. Get everybody going.
All right, hey Christopher. Each week we have a Big Frank question of the week, brought to us by the Clean Cut Lawn Service. My man Big Frank was certainly the #1 fan on this show for many, many years, and his son Bigsy has the Clean Cut Lawn Care Service, and he wanted to continue that tradition along, and I'm so glad he did. And there we have a great picture of Frank with Joe C. and I. We were having pizza watching the Monday Night Football game at his house one time, but it was also awesome. But here's my Big Frank question for you, buddy. Who has scored the most touchdowns in NFL history? And I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it.
Jerry Rice.
Excuse me?
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice is correct. He did get a lot from his father. He didn't even take a couple of seconds. He didn't even have to cheat.
That was a layup, Dad. That's a layup.
I know, but I didn't want to give you a hard one because I knew you had a hard day at work and it was hot again today and stuff. But Jerry Rice, do you know how many he had?
I want to say 197.
He had 207. That was a good guess.
Right,
207, and the next closest was Emmitt Smith with 175. He had 32 more touchdowns than anybody else in NFL history. That's incredible. Jerry Rice is the answer, and congratulations. I owe you one for getting that one, buddy.
All right.
All right. Well, we're going to finish up the show with our 5-pack picks, buddy. Our 5-pack picks are brought to you by Izzy's on 3rd. Make sure you stop over there. Totally renovated, beautiful spot inside. Go see Kurt and Steve and all the gang in there at Izzy's on 3rd in Boyertown, and you'll have some fun. Last week, son, I spanked Joe C. and Jimmy Vlahos in our 5-pack picks. I know you're going to do better than that. I was 4-1 last week. They both were 2-3. So here's tonight's game, all right? You and I.
All right, here we go.
We got the Cowboys and the Cardinals, Monday Night Football. Who do you like?
Dallas.
You're going to take Dallas? All right, I'm going to go against you, even though I think they're probably going to win. I'll just go against you and hope that Carson Palmer can pull rabbit out of his hat. I don't know. He hasn't been playing so good, though. But I'll go with the Cardinals. Now, here's one. Here's an interesting game. Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Both of them coming off tough losses. Baltimore got crushed over in London by the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're coming back at home. Who do you like? Steelers against the Baltimore Ravens?
I'll take the Steelers, especially because of all that travel time. They did just get their butts handed to them over in London, but Pittsburgh's going to definitely be ready to run this week.
All right, I'm going to go with the home team again. I'm going to go with Baltimore there. I think if Flacco can put together a decent game, we'll see if Terrell Suggs and those guys can show up. I don't know if anybody can cover Antonio Brown, though. He certainly is a special guy. Now, our next game is the Detroit Lions at Minnesota. Case Keenum was our guy, and he was my player, or I gave him my game ball this week. Detroit at Minnesota.
I'm going to go with Minnesota, actually. I think that if Bradford comes back, they're definitely going to be able to move the ball in the air. Stephon Diggs can make plays for him, and Dalvin Cook's running the ball real well. Definitely think that's the team to go with there.
Okay. I'm going to go with them as well. You and I agree with that one. I'm going to take the home team again. Detroit, man, they just missed out. They got stopped on about the half-yard line and certainly lost on a technicality with that 10-second runoff rule. That was sort of a shame. Here's an interesting game, a game that used to be one of the best games ever in the NFL, the old AFL days. The Oakland Raiders go into Mile High Stadium and take on those Denver Broncos. Who do you like in that one, buddy?
I mean, listen, Oakland's coming off a tough loss last night, but I think I got to go with the home team, Denver. Defense behind, Mile High, obviously. The breathing quality is not the best. I'm going to go with Denver.
Okay. I'm going to go Oakland. You know I've always been an Oakland Raiders fan. I'm going to go Oakland and hope that Derek Carr and his boys can bounce back. But, boy, they got shut down. Josh Norman and his gang from the Skins shut them down pretty good last week. And then, of course, our final game, the Eagles are at the Chargers next week. They play at 4 o'clock out in Los Angeles. I'm sure I know who you're going with. Who you going with?
You know I can't pick against my boys, so
I know.
I'm going to have to go with the Eagles.
I got to go with them, too. Even though I have to go with them because they're my team, I still think they are the better team, and they are going to win that ball game. All right, Junior. Well, listen, I appreciate you calling in. We got about a minute or so here to go. Anything else that stood out yesterday for you? What was your assessment of Wentz?
I mean, he didn't have his best game yesterday for sure, but that's why being able to run the football helps him out. You know, he doesn't have to come out and He doesn't have to make all those plays. He doesn't have to throw for 300-plus yards. He doesn't have to throw the ball 60 times, when you can move the football on the ground. So hopefully we can stick to some sort of a rushing going further. I'd still like to see my buddy Corey Clement from New Jersey get a couple more carries. I think he shows a little bit more flash than Smallwood, but as long as they're running the ball and they're running it efficiently, I think that they should be good to go.
I agree with that. Again, even though Wentz did complete 68% of his passes yesterday, did not throw a touchdown, he did have a couple of blunders. And let's get a little shout out to your Springford team.
He had one to Ertz, Pop. He had one to Ertz.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, let's have a little shout out to your Springford Rams squad. They seem to be starting to turn it up a little bit here in the middle of the season. They are now 3-2. I have them ranked 4th in my top 5. They should have a fairly easy game this week against Methacton, but in 2 weeks they play that PV squad. Give me your prediction on Springford PV in 2 weeks.
I always want to pick Springford, you know that. I can't bail on my boys. So.
You got that right, buddy. Okay. Well, listen, thanks for calling in, and have a good week. We'll get together maybe this weekend or so, and I love you, man, and keep it real.
All right, Dad, I love you too.
All right, buddy. All right, my man. See you, buddy. Again, hey, don't forget, Key Bank is the official bank of the Monday Morning Quarterback. I was just down there to see my buddy Bob and all the girls down there this week, and they are a good new sponsor for us that we're happy. And hey, in 2 weeks, we're going to have a Thursday night special. Next week, I'm going to tell you all about it. But in 2 weeks, we're going to have a Thursday night special back at Doc's at the Tiki Bar. It's the night before, as the night of the Eagles and the Carolina Panthers Thursday night special game as well. But again, it's been a lot of fun. I missed my buddy Joe C., but we were able to get through this. I want to thank Benny Eckroth and my son Christopher for giving us a call here on the show, and everybody else that was here, Coach Mick, and so on. I want to thank Mike's Brick Oven Pizza again for delivering and doing a great job of bringing enough food so everybody is happy here on set. I'm Dave Ryan, now the Monday Morning Quarterback. Don't forget, next Monday we'll be back here in the studio for the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.